OK. On va refaire la leçon 8. So, essaie de suivre le tableau et en même temps, ça va faire une révision pour toi. Et I'm going to speak English because I'm going to make it like for more than one person. Okay, so the first, on lesson 8, the first one is Sod Aleph, right?
I can still see you though. Did you take me on?
Yeah, I can't see you.
Okay, all right.
You can still see me?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I can't see you. You're not showing up here.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not showing up. Okay, so but if you want, I could just make it like this, stop the video completely. That way you can't see me at all, right?
Okay.
Okay, so what I was saying was Sod, right, for lesson 8, Sod Aleph, it loses the tail. That one is pretty easy. So you have the head of Sod, and then you have the tail. So this tail is gone. And so all you're going to have now is the head with this and then connect to the Aleph. Okay? And Sod has a brother who is Dod. And so Dod, all you're going to do is going to do the same thing. You just, Dod will have the Nukta on it. Okay? So that's Dod. Dod Aleph. Right? Or Sod Aleph. I take the Nukta out. I take the dot out. It becomes Sod Aleph. So that's one family. And we know how they change. The next family is, they show you is To. So To Aleph, very easy. It doesn't really change. To Aleph. Like you can really recognize To easily. To, and then the brother of To is Dha. So you just need the dot on it to make it Dha. So that one, mashallah, this first line is very easy. Now, the next two lines become a little bit more complicated because there's a lot of changes. So in the next line, the second line, you have the family of Ain, right? Ain, and then the brother of Ain is Ghain, 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 right? So how do these letters change? So I'm gonna erase this. Okay. So how do they change? What happened to them is that the belly goes away when they're about to connect, because they have to connect. They can't keep that belly. So just the head is gonna remain. So you're gonna take the head, the open head, and then you're gonna connect to Aleph, right? Or to, Ba. If you want to connect to Ba, it's gonna be like this, okay? If you want to connect to, I don't know, Sin, it's gonna be like this, right? So Ain Aleph, Ain Ba, Ain Sin, and if I want to make it Ghain, I just put a dot on it. Ghain Aleph, Ghain Ba, Ghain Sin. So this one is easy, is the first letter, so just the belly went away. But if it's in the middle, if the letter is in the middle of two letters, so now you can't connect, because you see you have the Ba here, right? Ba. And then you have the Ain here, and then you have an Aleph. How is Ba gonna connect with Ain? So because it can't connect with the empty space, Ain is gonna close itself so that it connects with Ba. Okay, so then Ba connects to Ain, but Ain is now closed. The head is closed, right? And in your book, they color it inside as well, right? So Ba, Ain, Aleph. The same thing is gonna happen with Ghain. I'm just gonna put a dot on it. Okay, so that's when it's in the middle. And if it's at the end, so let's say I have Ba, Ghain, and that's the last letter, I'm not connecting to anything else, it's gonna get back the belly because it's not going to any other letter, okay? So that is the family of Ain and Ghain. So now I'm gonna use a different color and show you Fa. So Fa, Fa, the way it is, okay, let me see. Okay, so Fa is like, usually in your book, is colored like this, and it's like that. This is your Fa, right? And then the brother of Fa is also like that, black head and two dots, Qaf, Fa, Qaf. So what happens to Fa and Qaf? Usually when they're the first letter, their tail is shortened. So Fa Aleph is gonna be like this, right? Fa Aleph, you have a black head here, and then you connect. Qaf Aleph is gonna be the same thing with two dots, okay? But now when they're in the middle, to not confuse with the ghain, when they're in the middle, you have a ba here, you're going to have a fa with an open head inside, so that it's not confused with this one, the ghain. So ghain will be colored inside, closed. Fa will be open inside. I mean, when I say open, not open like this, but inside will be light, right? So ba, fa, alif, and the same thing with qaf. You just had to add. You just have to have two nuqta. So that's fa and qaf. Kaf, when the kaf by itself is like this frame with this S inside. But when it's going to connect, that S comes out, and that's the one that's being used, kaf alif, right? This is only used if it's the last letter. Like here you have ba, ghain, it gets all the shape back. So if I had ba, I don't know, if I had ba, let's say ba, lam, kaf, for instance, right?
The back is normal.
The kaf is gonna be back to normal because it's not connecting to anything else. Or if I want to do two letters, if I want to just do ba, kaf, it's gonna be like this, ba, kaf. Okay, so that's kaf. Now lam, alif, we already know the two letters, lam and alif. So the first letter is a lam and second letter is the alif, right? Lam, alif, and they come together in that weird shape. Meme, we said meme, usually meme has like a tail that goes down like this, but when it's going to connect, it's gonna go on the side and it's gonna be like this, meme alif. Okay, the tail goes on the side. Let's say noon. Noon, I don't even know where to put, I don't want to erase these because they're pretty. Okay, noon, let me use a different color, maybe that will help. Noon actually, usually the dot is in the middle, like a belly button, but when it's connecting, just like ba actually, the dot moves to the right, but on top. Whereas ba, the dot moves
It's on the bottom.
In the bottom to the right, exactly. So this is noon and then noon alif. Now why can this, it cannot be dal alif, because if it was dal alif, then you would have a space. In your book, this is dal alif, this is noon alif. In your book, they're showing you actually the steps, how gradually the letters connect. So they show you noon and alif separate. And then they show you how noon is about to connect to alif and what it needs to do. It needs to be cut, right? And then finally they show you when they're both connected, exactly, right? So noon alif, noon alif, noon alif. So then the last line, you have waw and alif. Waw, we studied before that waw is one of the isolated letters.
It doesn't
so never gonna touch, okay? Waw, alif, never gonna touch. Lam, noon, that one is easy. Lam, noon, you know, it's not alif, noon because alif was not gonna touch noon. Ha is a letter not to confuse with ha. So ha is the big belly one. Ha, ha. A lot of air comes into this one. But ha is not a lot of air. So this is ha and this is ha alif. So ha, when it connects, it looks like that, ha alif. When it's sometimes ha will also look like that at the end, right? Sometimes it looks like this too at the end. And also it looks like this too at the end, like this, right? So these are when it's usually at the end. It will look like this. But when it's the first letter, it looks like this I, ha alif, ha alif. And they didn't put that in your lesson 8, but when it's in the middle, it looks like a weird 8. So let's say you had a ba, and then I'm gonna have the ha now, it looks like this. And then ha, alif. Ba, ha, alif. So ha has several faces. This is the I when it's the first letter. I say, to me, it looks like an I, like someone's eye. So that's why I call it the I. But this is ha when it's the first letter. And that's what they show you in your book. Ha, alif, ha, alif, ha, alif, right? And then they show you this one here at the end. This ha, that's one is at the end. And it's in the name Allahu. Allahu. That's the H. So Alif, Lam, Lam, H. That's the name of Allah. Alif, Lam, Lam, H. Okay, so that's the H at the end. And then I'm showing you here when H is in the middle, it looks like a weird 8. The number 8, it looks like a weird 8 number. And then Hamza, why do they have Hamza on top? Because Hamza, many times, it sits on top of a letter. So that's why this thing here represents a letter, and then you're going to have Hamza.
Okay.
Or it's going to sit in the bottom of the letter. So that
Okay.
represents the letter, and Hamza will be in the bottom. So an example, an example is that you're going to have Alif with Hamza like this, right? Or you're going to have Alif with Hamza in the bottom many times. Okay, so that's why they put the Hamza on top in the bottom. The last letter they show you is the letter Ya. Now, Ya, I don't even know where to go. Okay, I'm going to come here. Ya is your curvy letter. And many times you'll see it with 2 dots in the bottom because when Ya connects, it connects with the 2 dots. So here you have Ya Alif. They show you now the Ya when it's the first letter. It looks a lot like a Ta, but the 2 dots are in the bottom. Ta, the 2 dots are on top. So this is Ya, and then you connect Ya to Alif. So when Ya connects, whenever you see, don't even think about it. Whenever you see 2 dots in the bottom, don't even think it's Ya. It's the only letter that will have 2 dots in the bottom. In the bottom. That's very important. In the bottom. If it's on top, it's a Ta. So I tell the students 2 top Ta, so that they know it's T, right? 2 dots on top, Ta. 2 top Ta, right? But 2 in the bottom, Ya. Always, always, always Ya. So 2 top Ta or 2 in the bottom, Ya. So Ya Alif. Ya Alif. So that's your lesson 8. It's one of the most important lessons in the whole book. It really is, because it shows you many times when kids, students could be like in lesson 120 and they're still getting some letters confused. I bring them back to lesson 8. So it's really a lesson I want you to really, 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 really study very well, because the more you master your letters, the easier it's gonna be for the rest, inshallah. Inshallah. So I'm gonna cut the recording actually.